All right, we made it. 26, baby. This is the 26th MCU film. And I went into this movie with zero, and I really do mean that. I mean zero expectations. Like, most of the time when I go into a Marvel movie, I'm like, I'm going to like this movie. This time I was like, you know what? I don't know. Like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about the movie. And, like, I'm really happy I did that because this movie is strange, but also incredibly basic. So I'm really excited to talk about Eternals. Eternals was released in 2021. It was written by Chloe Zhao and Patrick Burleigh and Ryan Firpo and Kaz Firpo, and directed by Chloe Zhao. So, no spoilers. We don't do spoilers here. No, we can't do that here. No, we don't do the spoilers. The general idea of the film is... How do I talk about this? The Eternals are these weird, everlasting beings who are on Earth to protect the humans from these deviants, and the deviants are on Earth for a purpose. And they're like, no, you must die. So they kill them. And then all of a sudden, some of them come back. And they have to kill them again. That's like the non-spoiler plot description for Eternals. That's not at all what happens in the film, like, for the most part. There's a lot more to that. Like, a lot more to that. It's so hard to talk about this film without spoiling anything. I'm not going to, though. I'm going to do it. I'm really proud of myself. The plot's way more detailed and interesting than that. It really is. I actually think the plot for this movie is really cool. It's really fun and really interesting. And there's just a lot of characters. Like, there's just so many characters. And that brings me to my first negative point, which is, like, there's a lot of characters. There's, like, what, 10 of them? Like, there's so many of them, and none of them really get a lot of hype or talk about development at all. Like some of these people exist to say funny lines, and that's it. But like the people that do get character development are really cool. Like Sprite was really cool because Sprite's a kid and Sprite just wants to grow up, but they can't. So it's like it was really fun. It was really sad, actually. They do it really well. And then Cersei is like kind of in love with a couple people in this film, trying to figure that out. So I thought her character was really well developed. And Cersei is the heart of this film, like really, truly. I really like her a lot. I think that she's definitely my favorite character in the Eternals. I would say maybe Icarus. I like Icarus a lot too. Icarus is really cool. They're both great, but like, and they're both played by Gemma Chan and Richard Madden. They're fantastic. I really do think that they were really good in this movie. But for the most part, like beyond those two, most of their characters are just background characters. There's a guy that's like a movie star that's got a camera guy that follows him around. There's a gay black dude, so that was kind of cool. There's a deaf person who has like a love interest as well that I thought was really nice. But the issue is that none of them rose past bleakness. Like, almost all of them had, like, a little bit of development, but their arc's not closed. And, yeah, in an MCU movie, you expect that, kind of, but you expect mini arcs in MCU movies, right? Like, okay, we're doing something, we learn something. We're doing something, we learn something. That's how MCU movies work. And, yeah, this one, people are like, oh, it doesn't feel like an MCU movie. It does. It's an MCU movie. Like, I should mention, I saw this at midnight, so I'm exhausted. Like, I got, like, 4 hours of sleep, because it's a 3-hour-long movie. But we're here. It's so hard to talk about this film without spoiling anything. And I remember all my good points. It's an MCU movie. You'll know it. You know it is. Like, when you're sitting there in the movie theater, you're like, oh, this is very MCU. Like, from the very beginning, you're like, oh, Disney had its hands all over this. And that's fine. I think that the inclusion of the diversity of this film was actually really good. I appreciated it, and it was done well. That was, like, the important part for me, was, like, I knew they were going to do it at some point, but whether or not they did it well was important to me, right? Because we have a lot of movies these days that are like, claiming to be progressive and claiming to be, you know, inclusive, and none of them are. Like, none of them are. This one absolutely is. I actually really appreciate how they went about doing, you know, the gay person, and how they went about doing the deaf person. I thought it was really, really cool how we have all these inclusions of characters that really work. I don't know. I will see more of it in the future. I'm almost sure of it, although maybe not as much now that they kind of receive some negative feedback from a bunch of old white dudes, but we'll see. But yeah, the plot's like really good. Like, it's really fine, but it is long. Like, and I really should mention this. The first hour of this movie is absolute dog shit. Like, I hate it. Like, I really dislike the first hour of this film. it reminded me a lot of Mortal Kombat from earlier this year, where like they're just like walking around like, hey, we need you, and they're like, cool, and they do that for a long time, like an entire hour. It's just like them walking around, and like there's fight scenes, and I gotta get to that. Fight scenes, for one, they're really cool. Like the deviants are cool looking, and the fighting is brutal. Like it reminds me a lot of the bear scene from The Revenant. A lot of them are just like beating at each other, and like there's a lot of weight to the people. I really appreciate that, because a lot of movies are like, no, people are weigh nothing, but no, there's really a lot of weight and like feelings in this fight. But the only issue is that there's not a whole lot of character development in the fights, which Marvel is known for doing pretty well. Like we're always good at, you know, especially like Avengers, right, where they're all on the comms, so they're talking the entire time they're fighting. Here we don't have that, because they're not on comms. They're just like flying around and like beating people up and using their unique powers to do stuff. And that's cool, but none of them get any character development through the fighting, which is a staple in a Marvel movie, in my opinion. And yeah, this doesn't have to be necessarily a Marvel movie, but like there are certain elements that I think should be, and that's one of them. I think that we should have character elements through the fighting, or else the fighting is kind of useless. And the fighting is cool, but it is kind of useless. Like it doesn't do anything helpful for the characters. It does for the plot, but not for the characters. So it's like, it's a weird balance. But yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't know, the fighting is really cool. It really is. And Bill Skarsgård's in this film? Hello? I didn't know. Apparently that's like a well-known thing. Like people know that. I had no clue. I had no idea. I was sitting there in the movie theater, and the credits were rolling, and like Bill Skarsgård shows. I'm like, what, Bill? He was in this film, and actually, now that I think about it, it was really cool. I missed like looking into that more, and eventually I think I'm gonna rewatch it again at some point, probably when it comes out on 4K. I'll buy it. But yeah, I mean, I was like, Bill, is that you? He was like, whoa. The ending of this film was really nice. I like a lot of the feelings behind a lot of the stuff. It's extremely cliffhangery though, like beyond cliffhangery. I'm not going to talk about it because it's cliffhangery and it's spoilery, but the ending of this film is super cliffhangery, and there's two post-credit scenes that are both really cool, actually. They got me really excited, but also cliffhangery as hell. Like, they really are. There's this one end credit scene that I'm still debating about who is in it. Like, that's how crazy it is. I'm like, I'm not sure, but I think it's this person, but I can't talk about it because it's spoilers. But I will wait until there are official reviews from this, and then I'll look and see if they know who it is, because I really would like to know. We have our thoughts. I don't know for sure. But yeah, it's not bad. Like, it really isn't garbage. It's just not very good. Like, a lot of it is just rough and it feels like an unpolished movie. It feels like an uncut movie. They're like, here's this movie we have, and the editors were like, cool. Bring it to the people. Like, I feel like it needed to be cut down a lot, and it needed to be refined. A lot of the characters need to be refined, and honestly, I wouldn't have hated it if they got rid of a couple characters. Like, I think it would have been better if they had just been like, no, and then like, there's 8, maybe even 7 of you, and go from there. Because we're introducing so many characters that are unique and cool and all have unique powers. We're not really developing any of them. But yeah, overall, I think it's fine. I'm going to go ahead and give Eternals a B-. Have you guys seen Eternals yet? Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about it. If you haven't seen it, come back and let me know in the comments down below when you do get a chance to see it. But, you know, it's at your movie theater, your local movie theater. I work at the Oneonta Southside Mall, so if you're interested in checking it out here, I'm there, so I'll see you there. But yeah, I don't know, it's fine. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought. Subscribe if you're interested in more movie reviews. I do them all the time, so, you know, hit that red button. It really helps me out a whole lot, so definitely consider doing that. And as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.